And we're live.
We're 20 seconds early now. We are, look.
Shall I
18.
do?
I've got to come back this way.
Shall I do the
Look, can't
countdown
see
then?
The show starts in
Right. 5,
9,
4,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Go, Steve.
well, so now it's 20 seconds afterwards.
God, that was a long intro, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone,
Five
and welcome to the Sports Deck Live. You're here with me, Tara B, and of course, Steve, the ref. It has been a while since we've done a live podcast, hasn't it? It's been a few weeks. How many? 4 weeks?
I turn the fingers round before I get told off. 4 weeks. Well, yes, you had a reasonable excuse. So
yes, I have. I did have a family issue that I needed to deal with. So yeah, but we're here, we're back, and we're hopefully going to be going.
We're here and we're back.
Yeah, we're here. We're back.
I can't clean my ears out.
What's wrong with that? But he's picking on me already. We're not even a minute in.
So what have you been up to?
Oh boy, what haven't I been up to?
No, we don't want to know about that. We want to know about the sports things.
I've been so busy, so busy with commentary, football and basketball. So we will.
Yeah, I know you want to talk about the basketball because you love basketball now, don't you?
Oh, don't I? Yeah. Had a crazy weekend with the basketball up in Manchester. So I'll go through all of that with everybody. Incredible game, incredible venue, a really incredible weekend.
Is that the G spot? Not the G spot, the G men or something they call what they call it?
The
G
what?
something?
The what?
I don't know. It's the Manchester G something.
Oh, Manchester Giants.
No, the arena.
Oh no, it's the National Basketball Performance Centre.
Right, not the G, whatever it was.
Not the G spot, Steve. No, not the G spot.
Not that one.
Yeah, they were playing at the National Basketball Performance Centre in Manchester.
Right. Okay.
An incredible venue it was. So yes.
Did you like it?
I did.
Did you have a nice place to sit and do the commentary from?
Well, I didn't sit 1 minute.
Oh,
I can't.
You have a nice place that you could have sat down, but stood up to the whole commentary.
Exactly. There was lots of places to sit. It was very well organised. But I can't sit when I'm watching the basketball because it gets me like, I get a bit intense. And then I thought I was going to get chucked out the media section because I was getting a bit intense. So yeah.
Not letting off another stink bomb, were you?
No. So I will go through the playoff final that took place on Saturday between the Milton Keynes Breakers and the University of East London Lions. And I'm going to say, for me personally, not for the club, for me personally, it was a bit of a grudge match because the London Lions used to be the Milton Keynes Lions before they jumped ship. So we'll go into that a little bit more in detail.
All right, they jumped ship. Well, they went down the Thames.
Literally went down the Thames and jumped ship. So yeah, so we'll go into that.
Okay.
And there's lots of football. Of course, Newport still got a couple of games left to play because of all their cup runs.
Newport Pagnell, not Newport. Newport Pagnell.
Pagnell. I keep calling Newport.
The Paggers.
Yeah, because of all their cup runs. But they've got one more game to play on Saturday. It's an away game. And then there's lots of finals coming up that I'm commentating on, so I'll go through all of that. And we've got a lot of stuff going on in the Premier League that you're going to take us through.
Yeah, we're probably not talking football in the Premier League the last 48 hours.
Well, okay, we'll miss out one club. How's that?
Well,
and then,
depends which one the one is.
and then what did you say? You are... Oh, Oh, bless. Look, a comment. Derek Langley is listening in, and he said I did a fantastic job in commentary. I will tell you who
I wonder
Derek.
who you were paying before you came on. I knew you said you were sending somebody some money. Now I know it's Derek.
Derek, Derek is the father of one of the basketball players. Now, I've got to tell you an amazing story. His family came over from America to watch him play basketball. They haven't watched him play for years, but they watched him play basketball in the semi-final playoff, and then they came
Mhm.
up to Manchester to watch in the final as well. So, I mean, that was
Oh, that's really good.
amazing for Derek.
No, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's very. I'm sure that their son appreciated it.
Oh, definitely, most definitely. And Dante is Derek's son, the basketball player, and yeah, we'll go through all of the highs and lows. Well, there wasn't
Well,
any
go on
lows.
then. I'm like all the other people, the other 17 million that are tuned in.
Oh, do you want me to start with the basketball then?
Go on, yeah,
Okay, I'll
go
start
for
with
it.
basketball. All right.
Yeah.
So,
But before you do the basketball,
yeah.
because I've got a time constraint today, because I've got to ask a question about who am I. And
Oh,
because
yeah.
my who am I is not a giveaway, and I've got to ask a question every 5 minutes,
Yeah.
or give you a pointer every 5 minutes, I'm going to
Yeah.
give you a pointer for number one to start with.
Okay.
So
this
this
your
is
who
aimed
am
at you,
I.
Tara, but we might have 3 or 4 listeners, and this is a tricky one, but a good one.
Okay.
Now you must listen to Now there are cryptic clues within the clue.
Oh, Lordy.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So I was born a female, and now I'm a lady.
No, I'm a lady. Would that
If you
include a
get this straight
day?
away, if you get this straight away, I'm shutting my laptop down and going home. Wait a minute, I am at home.
Does a lady include a dame, or is it actually a lady?
No, she's a lady. She's above a dame.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it's not Kelly Holmes.
Yeah, so I was thinking of.
I know. That's your twin, isn't it?
Yeah, I wish. Okay, all right. I'll think about that. Was there a lady Spencer? Some lady something
Yeah,
Spencer?
Diana,
No, not her. She's dead,
sadly.
sadly. There was
26 years. 20. Do you know that's 26 years that's going to be in August?
Is it? Oh my word, that's
Mm.
showing my age. Yeah, isn't there a sports lady who's Lady something Spencer? No? Am I just making that up?
Not this person I'm thinking of, but we'll
Oh.
come back to my one. Go on with the basketball. Go on.
Okay, so it was the playoff final.
I'm intrigued.
The playoff
No,
final
really?
was up in Manchester. Like I said, at the National Basketball Performance Centre, and it was between the Milton Keynes Breakers and the feeder team for the London Lions, right? So
The feeder team.
the feeder team. So they're like the academy team for the London Lions.
Right.
That's why they're a university team. So the University of East London, but they've also got the name of the London Lions who are in the BBL. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
So they're kind of the feeder team, the academy team of the London Lions. So the London Lions history is London Lions were originally based here in Milton Keynes. They used to be called the MK Lions. And then they jumped ship down to London because of the money.
For those of you watching in black and white,
The money.
show us the money. Yeah. Hey, where's she gone? Where have you gone, Tara? Oh, no, I'm still here. It's you. You've disappeared. I've never seen you this light. I can't see you at all. Huh? I can hear you. You nearly came back on. No, you now got the sports deck. That popped up. It doesn't matter. Your camera's gone. I'll tell you what. Have you paid your electric bill? I've got to tell you, I'm not at your end. I haven't a clue. So if anyone's watching this, they're seeing me, and you keep going into a black square and disappearing. No, for most people would probably find it quite accommodating that you've disappeared. No, I've got the same problem. Welcome to this week's Sports Deck. You can see me and hear her. See no evil, hear no evil. Right. I got a yep from Peter Taylor, but the thing is, I don't know. Oh, we can't. He says he can't hear you at all now. Excuse me, I've just doubled the size of my picture here. Right, Peter's. I can hear you. I have no idea what's happened to you, darling. No, I just checked that. Well, okay, I've got to say I'm here and I can hear you, but Peter says he can't hear you. Hold on. How do I reply to Peter? If Peter can hear me, can you not hear Tara still? I don't know. I'm assuming he can hear me. Yeah, I can hear you, all right. So I don't know what's happened here. Well, it was probably because you were talking about basketball. Maybe there's a technical agent who works for London Lions. Hey,
Oh, I'm back.
but you sound different now.
Oh, yeah. Hold
You
on.
got fuzzy. You got all fuzzy.
All right. Back in. Oh,
Right,
it's my
I can-
microphone. Can you hear me better?
I can hear you now. Yeah,
Okay. You can see me. You can hear me.
yeah. What's up? What sort of laptop do you use? Is that the 1973 Alan Sugar Amstrad one?
It's the original Microsoft. Like you have to kind of
No,
wind it up to
It's,
get it going.
it's pre Microsoft. It's pre yeah. It's pre Microsoft. God, it's hot in
Okay.
here. I've got hot. I've got to take my.
Oh my
the
gosh! I
sweatshirt
thought
off.
you were taking your clothes off. Oh
No,
my
no,
gosh.
no. I've got my grey T-shirt on, which says "Why do the lobsters always crap in the water?"
Do they?
Pardon?
Because they're Tottenham fans.
No, we're just crap. We haven't got a cup in the water.
Okay, I'm going to go back to
Right,
the
back to the
NBA Lions.
basketball. Yeah,
Back
go
to
on.
the
So
basketball.
you're in
So-
Manchester. This lot have jumped ship.
This
I've got
lot,
this
yeah,
right.
the Lions, they decided to go with the money because that's,
Yeah.
that's what
Don't
they.
do that again. You'll lose your camera.
Yeah, they go off with the money down to London, and they leave Milton Keynes without a basketball team at all.
That was
No
nice of them.
basketball team, no nothing, no, like literally just jump ship and sodded off basically.
Oh, right. That's that the
yeah.
technical term.
That is the Tara's technical term for jump ship. So they went down. So for me personally, it was a bit of a grudge match. It was a little bit of a two fingers to you. You know what I mean? We've got our team that way round, of course. Yeah, victory. we've got our team now. You know, we don't need you, so you just carry on doing your little thing down in London. And I have to
Right.
say, the Milton Keynes Breakers were outstanding on
What
Saturday.
was the score?
A lot. It was 111. Bear with me. Bear with me. I need to make sure I get it right. So,
Well, I thought you'd have the answer, at your fingertips.
I'm
You
not.
know,
I'm not
proper
good.
presenter who comes on about having done the game would know what the score was.
Oh lordy! It was. Oh blimey! Where did I find it?
Any old number you like. I don't know.
It was 111 to 67. There you go.
So really, it was rather one-sided.
It was rather one-sided, to be fair.
Right.
And I've got to say, I listened back to. I watched it again because obviously, when you're commentating, you're seeing things very differently than you would a fan.
Yeah,
So
of course.
on Sunday, I watched it back because it's on the YouTube channel of the British Basketball League.
Right.
And I was listening to the commentary that they do, which isn't as good as mine. They like no heart in it whatsoever. And what they
Obviously,
said,
now for those listeners who are still listening and haven't crashed out because Tara disappeared, she's not really praising herself. She's just saying it as it is.
no, I'm saying it because I love it, you know, and it comes across that way. So
Yeah.
what the commentators did say was that the MK Breakers were so professional. They played like a professional team. The way they
Yeah.
set up, the way they went about the game. It was incredible. It was really, really great to watch.
Mhm.
They brought down a load of fans to Manchester, or up to Manchester, I should say.
Yeah, you're here, and that's
Yeah,
that way.
I know. You know me and my geography. So a load of
We've
fans.
got geography now. Geography questions will be applied after 8 o'clock. Part 2 of Who Am I while you're in the middle of a flow.
Yeah.
I'm a world-renowned female athlete, born in England, but I never represented England.
Okay. 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 And a lady. All right. Leave it with me. Leave it with me.
Yeah.
Um,
For those of you in black and white, 4 hours later, she'll still be working it out.
I'll be texting them all night. Who is it? Who is it?
Yeah.
So the game itself was, like you say, it was pretty much one-sided. The first quarter, they were kind of feeling each other out a bit, the two teams. There
What's happened?
we got an answer.
I don't know. I can't see anything.
You can't see that.
Can't see what?
Peter has said Zola Bud.
No.
Oh. Sorry, Peter, not Zola Bud.
I don't know why I can't see his response because I could see it earlier, yeah?
Oh.
However, and I can't see it now, and I can't see someone's writing at the moment, but good effort, Peter. But when I get to the next question, the next part of it, you'll think to yourself, why did I say Zola Bud? And I know why, and I know why you said Zola Bud, but it will become apparent why you shouldn't have. So, part 3 will sort of put you in a different direction. That's the whole point of this. But thank you for trying, and see if you can get it after the next clue. Which will come up after Tara's finished off telling us about the basketball game that finished 111-67, was an absolute walkover, and that's what every game's been this year. But carry on.
Which is true, which is very true. But I have to say, it was the crowd that came up from Milton. Yeah, came up from Milton Keynes. Went up from it. It was just a sea of red. They all had their red on because it was all pre-arranged. Everyone was going to wear red, so it looked amazing on the TV. The opposition teams, fans, well, they were really kind of non-existent, to be fair. Didn't really even know they had some fans there.
Most people from London don't really want to go to Manchester if they can help it.
Why? nice. Good to go. Good shopping. Good night out. Some good food. No.
Shopping. Shopping. This is
So
a
it
sports
wasn't
program, not blooming Wonder Bra advert. Come on.
So it was an absolute whitewash from the Breakers. They stomped it, absolutely stomped it. One of the players, Blaine Freckleton, I have to mention, he got MVP for the game. He scored 39 points. He got 3 threes in a row amongst all the other threes that he done. 3 3-pointers in a row. He was absolutely on fire on Saturday. Absolutely on fire.
Good.
So it was brilliant. The
What time
atmosphere.
did you get home then after the event?
Well, we drove home. I got home about 8
Is
o'clock.
this in the dented car that your husband did?
He pranked my car. He did. Yes, but it wasn't dented at the time because I don't dent my cars.
Should
But
be
he
with
did,
my
yeah.
wife. She does a dent in her car every 4 years.
So yeah, we
She's
got
like
home
the
at
leap
8
year.
o'clock. That we got home at 8.
Oh right, so
But that's because I was I had guests in my car, and that was Derek's Dante's mum and dad.
hmm
I gave them a lift up Friday. We stayed over, did a bit of shopping, did a bit of eating.
shopping.
I got 2 lovely
I'm sure
dresses.
Derek. I bet you, Derek, if he's come over from America, he's thought to himself, "Why am I going shopping?"
He's a bigger shopper than I am. Mr. Langley has got an incredible sneakers collection. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, they're cheaper in America than are here.
Yeah, but not the ones he has. Yeah,
Well,
not
there's a
those.
new gold Adidas, but we'll go into that on a different day.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, you had a wonderful time at the basketball, and it
Wonderful
was a
time,
brilliant
and
evening. I'm so pleased.
Amazing result, amazing performance. It's such a shame that it's the last game and we're not, nothing more until September.
I'm delighted.
Because I keep saying every time. I keep saying every time.
No,
"Oh,
it's fine. I'm just
they
thinking.
stormed them." Look,
Yeah.
Derek's saying he's guilty. His shoe collection. He knows what I'm talking about.
I
He
can't
knows.
read any of this. I don't know where that's all gone. You've obviously deleted me to that Twitter. Right, part 3. I won the BBC Sports Personality of the Year in 1972.
72. Steve, I wasn't even born then.
You liar! You were born in 1941. I know you were.
How am I supposed to know anybody's prenatal?
Hold on a minute.
All right.
You know there was a
Derek's got a
world war.
guess.
You know there was a world war, the Great War in 1914 to 1918. You weren't
Oh, yeah,
born.
I
I
know.
wasn't either, but I knew there was a war.
Yeah, but I learned that at school. That's different. So Derek
Well,
has
you
come
should
up
have
with an
learnt. Anyone
answer.
that went to proper school learnt about sport. You should know who was Sports Personality of the Year.
We've got an answer from Derek. Jenny Meadows.
No.
Sorry, Derek. Good try. Good try.
The best thing is, provided that they don't cheat,
Yeah.
they're now because you start piecing it together, don't you?
Yeah.
You're now thinking, hold on a minute, this is 50 years ago. So
What's the
this
clue again?
person-
Pete would like to know what's the clue again.
Tell
the
Pete
third-
to pay attention.
Pete, pay
I was
attention.
born. I was born a female, and now I'm a lady. Yep, I'm a world-renowned female athlete from England, but I never represented England. What's funny now?
Okay.
And I won the potty. I won the spotty, should I say, in 1972.
Won the what?
Sports Personality of the Year, the spotty.
Oh, the spot. Is that what they call it? The spotting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Derek has just said, "My God, this is entertaining." Now I don't know if
Well-
he's being sarcastic or whether.
Well, I don't know either. But anyway, have you finished with the basketball, or have you got
I've
any
finished-
more about
No,
basketball?
I've got more. I've got more.
Oh, God.
Right. Okay.
Well, carry on, because the World Snooker's on, and I
Okay.
might have a beard by the time we get to the end of the basketball.
right, so Blaine Freckleton got MVP, well deserved. He was absolutely on fire.
Right, yeah.
And Coach Beddoe, he got
Coach Beddoe. His first name's not Philo, is it?
what?
You don't know who Philo Beddoe is, no?
No.
Have you ever seen Every Which Way But Loose in Any Which Way You Can? With Clint Eastwood and an orangutan called Clyde.
Oh, I've heard about the orangutan, but I've never seen the show. We've got an answer. 1 minute. Pete said Mary Peters.
Yes! He's bloody looked up the answer!
He says we've cheated.
Yeah. Yes, so I was going to say I appeared in the 64, 68 and 72 Olympics.
Gareth Hammonds, he got the correct answer as well. He said Mary Peters as well.
Well, Gareth's a friend of mine. He will know because, you know, he did sport because we worked at Betfair together. And Gaz and I bought a greyhound about 3 weeks ago, along with another 8 of my friends.
Right.
We haven't discussed this yet, have we? Anyway, Mary Peters, I competed in every Commonwealth Games from 58 to 74. My middle name's Elizabeth. I'm now 83, and I represented Northern Ireland, where she still lives.
There you go.
She still lives in
Wow,
Northern
well
Ireland.
done. And they got that off 3 clues.
Yeah, the sports
That was really
personality, they've obviously Googled who won it, and that was the answer how they did it, yeah, because, you know, I know straight away when somebody gets that was the easy clue.
So, do you know what? It's going to take.
We're
forever
still
to
on
get through this
basketball.
stuff. We're still on basketball because you keep interrupting me. So, back to Coach Beddoe. Back to Coach Beddoe. He won the Coach of the Year for our region, which
Well,
is
they won every game. He's kind of likely to win it, isn't he?
well, yeah, but he's still got it. You know, it's official. It's
Yeah.
official now. And Jordan Spencer, who is our point guard, he won Player of the Year for our region and for D3, obviously. And I've got to say, by 1 point, Dante Langley missed out. So, you know, that's I call it a 1 and 2. We got a 1 and 2 in Milton Keynes.
1 and 2.
Yeah, D3 in our area.
That's good.
We got a 1 and 2. So, I mean, could you have asked for a more successful season for the
No,
Breakers?
you win every game. They deserve it, obviously.
They deserve
and
it,
we had this discussion in January when you started telling me about how wonderful they were. And I said to you, no, but I'm one of these people, when I watch sport, even it's a sport that the basketball's okay. I wouldn't put it at the top of my list, even though I played it and I represented my county. I enjoyed it. But with that kind of game, I want to play it, or when I'm watching it, I want to watch a game where it's very close, it's end to end, and either side can win it. When somebody's 20 points clear, it becomes a non-event. It's the same in the snooker when you've had this week 13-3 and 13-3 or 13-2. They're not a game that you want to watch because it's boring.
Right.
When you watch a game of football, I know we've got on football yesterday, but it was the same thing with the Newcastle game. It was boring because there were 3 goals up in 10 minutes, 5 up after 20 minutes. The fans weren't, it was just completely dead there because if it had been a 0-0 game and you score in the 80th minute, you've got the excitement all the way up to it. When you have a game like that, it was so one-sided that it's not, for a neutral, it's not even interesting.
Okay, Gareth has a comment. He said, this basketball is like a Ronnie Corbett story.
Yeah. Oh, I know how you feel, Gaz. Eventually it will finish. But the thing is, there's no more basketball till September.
I don't understand what that means. What does that mean?
Ronnie Corbett used to... Well, when you were a little girl, Ronnie Corbett used to be on a program called The Two Ronnies. And the Two Ronnies, he used to tell a story, and it used to go, Ariston and on and on and on.
Oh! About basketball. Are you kidding me?
No,
it's one of the most fast-paced games you can get. Football's a bit like that, to be fair. A bit on and on and on.
The fastest game is ice skating. Is ice hockey.
Ice hockey.
Now that is quick.
Yeah. So
They are.
Pete's saying our fans are always engaged and they love it. Absolutely
Yeah.
do. Absolutely do.
Look, don't get me wrong. There's no harm in enjoying a sport that's not what you would call a major sport. It's a major sport in America.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a major sport in America. It's not a major sport here.
Yes.
It can't be.
Yes. Yes.
No, exactly. But it's behind. No sport will ever overtake football ever.
It
just
doesn't have
can't.
to overtake. No. I don't. It
No,
doesn't
but
have to
people play
overtake.
basketball. They don't. You don't go unless you're brilliant in America. How much money are you going to earn playing basketball?
But it's not about the money. It's not
No,
about
but
the
it is
money,
about
Steve.
money. If you do sport
not.
nowadays and you want to be successful, what's the first sport most boys want to do? Football. They don't say, "Oh, I want to be a basketball player when
Shall I
I'm
tell
12."
you why? Shall I tell you why? Because that's all they are. All they're given is football. At school, they're taught how to play football and sports like that. They're
No,
not
I
taught
was taught. I had
basketball.
basketball at school.
They don't in schools round here.
I know, but back in the day when I was a little boy, when I went to boarding school, we had basketball in 1973.
And it's only the last 2 seasons that BT Sport have been showing the BBL.
Yes. Now, a lot of this is because of the right. Okay, that's different. So if you think about it, if you put it on a par with, for example, motor racing. Motor racing's been on the TV for what 40, 45 years. The British Grand Prix was the only Grand Prix that they used to show every year 20 years before, and they didn't really show the others, certainly not live. But if you look at the calendar and you look at how many Brits have been involved in the last 30, 40 years, going back to Graham Hill, I mean, after Jackie Stewart, Graham Hill, and then you've got Nigel, what do you call it? With the moustache. I've got out my head his name. Can't think of his name now. Mansell. And then you come more forward, and you had James Hunt. You had he was in between. You've had a catalogue of people now, and they've made the sport bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and the money's got astronomical in that. Sky Sports show it because it's become multinational. And how many countries have now got a Grand Prix that never even had a Grand Prix, and most people never even heard of the country?
But you don't think basketball will get like that? Of course it will. Of course
Yeah.
it will.
Because they play basketball in Russia. They've always done.
It's
The
massive
States-
in Europe.
Yeah, it is. They've had
Garrison-
it in Germany. It is. I agree. But when you look at the level of sport and the funding, you look at the football and you think that's up there. And then you come down, where's after football? And it's a well, motor racing is obviously funded, but it's a massive drop. Motor racing, you've only got 35, 40 people that can race week in, week out, and a spare driver from each team. Out of 8 billion people, that's 60 people.
Yeah.
It's very
I know.
few, right?
But I think
Okay,
for a sport that's growing,
it is growing, yeah,
heading
100%.
in the right direction. It's now getting a lot more publicity on
Yeah.
major sports channels and
Yeah.
things like that. And
And
like,
maybe if Milton Keynes do well next year, they'll end up having a game which is televised, and then you could be on TV.
well, I was on YouTube, but
No, but I mean TV.
TV. So this is the problem, right? Because the Breakers are brand new this season, they had to start in D3. They had no choice,
Yeah,
and they were too good for D3. If they
Yeah.
had the choice, it should have been that they were put straight into. They should have had some games pre-season to establish where they are, right?
yeah.
So they end up in D3. So of course they're going to smash it. Of course they're going to have games where they're winning, ridiculously.
Yeah, but that's
25,
the same at
30
every
games.
major sport. You have to start in the bottom division.
Yeah, so they had to. So next season it'll be a little bit more competitive. We'll still
Yeah.
storm it next season because we're that good, We'll still storm it. We'll go into D1, and that's where it's gonna.
Yeah, but then you start signing players and paying them properly, and that's the other side of it. That's how it is.
Yeah, possibly. Or
You go and watch Newport Pagnell, right? They've got a fairly nice ground. I referee grounds very similar to Newport Pagnell and have done for many years now. Those grounds are great. You can get 500, maybe 1,000 fans in. If you're really lucky, maybe a little bit more if you really filled it up for a special occasion. However, when you're at those games, those clubs who have players who play in divisions where they've gone from, their county league, they've gone from Division 2 in their county, Division 1, the Prem, they've won the Prem, they've got promoted to the South Midlands, they've won that, they've gone through the South Midlands, and now they go up to the next step. With going up comes a responsibility financially.
Of course.
With advertising and running the club. The bloke that runs the club's got to pay himself a wage. The groundsman's got to be paid because they need better equipment. The stadium's going to be better. The fencing's got to be better. Security's got to be better. Everything has to go up. It's a different notch every level.
Yeah,
and
it is.
With basketball, even though the courts are pretty well identical and the basket that they use, the materials and the stuff are similar at every one, it's the size of the stadium that they're in.
And to be fair, the Breakers have outgrown Bletchley. They pack it out every week.
And maybe next year, if they have a very successful year, they'll end up with another 20% followers and another 20% fans. And, with the thing is with basketball, I think normally it's about an hour and a half from start to finish, isn't it?
No, about an hour without overtime.
No, the game, but there's a break in between, isn't there?
There's only a 10-minute break.
Yeah. What? So you play 12 minutes, and have a 10-minute break?
You have 4 10-minute quarters. And
right.
in between the second
half-time
and the third, half-time is 10 minutes.
Right, okay. So it doesn't take very long. So for people to go to that, I thought professional basketball was slightly longer. I thought they played 12 minutes, didn't they?
No.
Have they changed it? I thought the Chicago Bulls, I'm sure the other day they had 48 minutes.
No, I don't think so.
But I don't know. Listen, I don't go to basketball anymore. I used to watch the Bulls when they were on TV all the time because Chicago's where my family are, and they were a brilliant side in the 80s.
Yeah.
But that level of basketball and the Breakers is obviously massively different, and it's the funding as well.
But this is
in America,
first season, Steve. This is their first season, so
absolutely, and it's a fantastic achievement. Absolutely brilliant. And if next year's the same, and they're very, very good next year, they will attract more supporters. And there will come a point. What do we do about it? Because obviously, if the arena that they're using isn't big enough, where do they go?
Yeah, that is one big problem. I think where can you find a venue in Milton Keynes?
The ice hockey place. The ice hockey place, was it?
There is a place down at the stadium. There's the arena down at the stadium because that's where the
stadium where the snooker is. Where they have the snooker.
Yeah, because that's where the Milton Keynes Lions were going to go, but it's really expensive. It's really expensive. But
I told you a long time ago we needed to get Pete Winkleman on the show. Do you remember?
Oh yes. I think he should donate the venue to the Breakers for season 2 because they've been so good. But then, to be fair, he's going to get shown up because the basketball this year for MK has
probably better than the football.
Exactly. The basketball team's going up, the football team's going down.
Yeah. But a lot of the football problems for a lot of the clubs, believe it or not.
Yeah. So Derek has just said
for some of them, it's still to do with COVID because of the issues with the contracts.
Probably.
And for a lot of teams this year, and I think my lot's fallen foul of it, is the World Cup just killed everybody.
Yeah, because it's the time of year it was. That's
the first thing. But when you've got my lot, you've got a squad, and you've got probably half a dozen of them have been injured nearly all season. And if you've got sort of 16 that you can sort of say that's your best 16, and you lose 2 or 3 of those, and you have a World Cup where virtually every one of those went to the World Cup. Man City, I think, had 12 or 13 players. Chelsea did. Look at the state of Chelsea.
I know.
They have been appalling. You can't say they haven't.
Derek has just made a comment to say the NBA, their quarters are 12 minutes.
That's what I said.
Yeah. You
I
said
thought they were.
WBL, didn't you?
Yeah, but you said it was 10, and I said the NBA is definitely 12 because I'm sure the game I saw the other day,
Oh,
and that
WBL is
12
10.
minutes is stop clock. It's not running clock.
Yeah.
That's a stop clock.
So
I think it's about an hour and a quarter when you go to an NBA game with the break that you have in the game, but it doesn't take an hour and a quarter because it's stop clock. So I
yeah.
think it takes maybe hour and 3/4 to get through it if you include the half time. So you get a bit of an afternoon if you like, and it's
Yeah.
indoors, so obviously you don't get wet. Whereas obviously some of the football stadiums you do get wet.
very
Yeah.
wet.
Yeah.
So the what I'm hoping next season, we're going to have a stonking season with the basketball. We're going to have sellout crowds again. The word is getting out there that we've got this amazing team that needs all their support, and we're going to have everybody down there enjoying the atmosphere because it is an
Do
amazing
they get
atmosphere.
paid at all, these guys?
I wouldn't know. I don't know. So Pete's saying we allow 2 hours on a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. I would go along with that.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, you see, when you go to a football match nowadays, it lasts 2 hours almost because first half's 48 minutes, 15-minute half time, second half's about 50 minutes. It's about 2 hours. But to get to a football game, you try and get to a game at Tottenham. I don't care, unless you live in Tottenham High Road, I promise you, getting to Spurs is an absolute pain. It's not easy.
No, I'm sure.
And some of the grounds, especially the ones in London, you're cutting across them. If you live in North London and you support, say, Chelsea, you have to use public transport. Well, most of this last 6 months it's been closed.
Yeah.
I mean, weekend has been. I know a lot of Spurs games on the weekend. There's been no transport at all, and you've got no choice but to drive. You try parking 40,000 cars in London.
I know. It's a
murder.
nightmare. Absolute nightmare. So
It
that
is,
is
yeah.
the basketball. It's only taken me 42 minutes with your interruptions, but I got there in the end.
Oh yeah, well that was because we were trying to sort out who this person was.
With a little bit of cheating.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. When we do, what year is it?
Oh, Pete's a
I've
Spurs
especially
fan.
I've especially got a clue to mess everybody up.
So Pete is a Spurs fan, he says, and he
right.
doesn't even bother going down anymore. It's that
Well, if he's
bad.
got me on the screen, then he might see the 2 shirts I got signed behind me, which I've managed to hang up at last.
So should we talk about Spurs game? Should we?
Well, it wasn't really a game.
Should we discuss what's going on down at Tottenham?
You can discuss it with me. I've got no issue because I say things as they are, as you well know.
I
Yeah.
certainly do.
Okay, so we get things straight. Stellini got the sack this afternoon. I said it to you. I've said it to so many people. Whoever owner or the managing director of a football club or whoever the chief executive is who hires a manager in the Premier League, every single manager that comes to the Premier League comes with his couple of mates who are the assistant head coach, the assistant manager, the fitness coach, and then maybe 1 or 2 others, depending on the level of manager you employ. So, if I worked with you in the same business for 15 years, Tara, and we had the same mindset, because we've accustomed to working with each other, we find the same things amusing, we do the same things. If I lost my job and you were offered my job, how much different would you do my job if you've been with me for so long?
Well, if we're on the
Hardly any
same,
different at all.
yeah, if we're on the same wavelength, then it would be the same sort of thing, no?
Exactly. So, when Conte got the sack, which I'm talking completely as in a neutral view here, he criticised whether he admitted, whether he meant to say it or not, and whether he translated from the Italian as he said it or not. I don't think he did personally. He did make a minor attack on Tottenham's hierarchy, and he didn't mean to say it the way he said it, but he said it publicly. He made some very valid points that Spurs are used to not winning because the mentality is not correct. As you well know, I'm very good friends with most of the old Spurs lads, especially all the ones that signed my shirt behind. Well, you know that because I play golf with quite a few of them, and as you know, I do quite a lot of charity events. So when they played, they all said that they wanted to give 100% every game. And even though Spurs suffered some bad results, as every team does, you have to learn to pick up and get on with it, and you do what the manager says. That's it, simple. It's professional. Those days have gone where the manager would be on TV and interviewed afterwards, whereas nowadays it's every single game, every action. Conte has always been a little bit of a typically Italian, really. You know, that's the sort of mentality. They get a little bit carried away, and I understand that. What he said in his outburst was very factual. Most Spurs fans, if you take it as it was literally, he was critical of the way Spurs is run, in the sense of the acceptance that, well, we've competed, but if we get to a final, well, we've done quite well. Whereas if I speak to any of the ex-Spurs players, I would expect them to say, no, I'd run through a brick wall to play for Spurs, and I'd give my name on the back of the shirt's irrelevant. It's the badge on the front. I know that I don't get on particularly well with Robbo at the moment, but that's exactly what he said, and it's true. You have to have that attitude as a player. I think Harry Kane is the only one that has shown that under Stellini, Conte, Mourinho, and I think partially because everybody loves Kane, so he's probably at an advantage, but he gives 100% every game. Conte had a pop at Tottenham. It was too much for Levy because it was too near the truth, and Levy got rid of him. Levy kept Stellini because that was the cheap option. No idea why. It was evident to anybody, even an idiot, just give the job to Mason, let him stay there. End of the season, they've got time to have a clear out and sort things out. Paul Gilmore, who works for Sky Sports, who is a Tottenham fan, questioned quite rightly, as has Jermaine Genius yesterday and a few of the other old Spurs lads, why has Levy appointed Stellini in the first place? The simple solution is, I think he just chickened out and just kept him in place because he didn't feel that he deserved the sack. But unfortunately, he's Conte's number 2, not Tottenham's number 2. Conte goes, Stellini goes. Stellini goes, whoever's with that package goes. Yeah? That was a big fault that Levy made. It's annoyed the Spurs fans. I think the players were fed up with the way that they were being coached by Conte. Because remember, when he first arrived, he came to Tottenham and it was a breath of fresh air. At last we've got a proper coach. At last we've got someone that knows how to win. At last we've got someone that's going to give us the chance to be successful. So for the first 3-6 months, that's exactly what they did. And they sneaked into 4th. This year starts with a few changes. Players that have come into Tottenham in the last year and a half, the ones that we've bought or bought with a view to keep, loaning and then buying. Bentancur, 100%, although we've missed him like mad the last 3 months, was a great buy. Don't think there's any doubt about that. Kulusevski, who we haven't paid for yet, I think is a very good buy. And for 20 million, no fault, no problem with that one. We signed Perisic. He's 34. He's only really a left midfielder winger. He's not a left back, and he's certainly not an up and downer because he can't do it. Why have we signed him? Conte wanted him. Conte's gone.
That, to me, that was a questionable signing. I didn't get why.
Okay, but he was a great signing 5 years ago, but we couldn't get him. So they went after somebody that we didn't really need. Okay, we bought Ndombele 4 years ago. He looked a world beater when he was playing for Lyon. Comes to Tottenham. I thought the boy's got skill. There's no doubt in my mind he's got skill. The problem is he's a lazy, and that doesn't work in the Premier League. Telling you as it is. We bought Romero to get a better defender. Romero's gone doolally since Argentina won the World Cup.
Yeah.
It's like someone set fire to his tuchus, and every game he runs off trying to clobber somebody, right? And he's probably coming out every game thinking, well, I'm playing alongside this twat who can't play football very well, and now I've got to play alongside another one who keeps getting injured. So, you know, it's making me look bad.
In the plot, right?
Right. Okay. But he's got spirit. And if he played alongside somebody like Gary Mabbott or Steve Perryman or Mike England, I guarantee you Romero would be world class. And I mean world class, because he would listen.
Player, to be fair. He is a good player.
Yeah. Right. But he needs to play alongside the right player.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. We've got a goalkeeper who for years was number one in France, but he's always been a good shot stopper, Larry. I'll always grant him that, but I've always said he's very susceptible in goal. He doesn't, for me, command his penalty area.
Do you know what it looks like with Lloris? The last 2 seasons, he looks like he doesn't want to be there. He looks like he's lost his heart for the game. Even when he was playing for France in the World Cup, he just didn't look.
Oh, his mojo's gone. And
it didn't look like
you
he
know,
wanted to be
look,
there.
It's psychological, yeah? You imagine that you're playing for a team. He's played in that team now for 10 years.
Yeah.
6 years ago, 7 years ago, Spurs challenged Chelsea for the title and finished runners-up. We never had a chance of winning it. And the reason we never had a chance of winning it was because we were always behind Chelsea on fixtures, and we were always lumbered with playing catch-up. We never had the chance to close the gap to sort of 2 or 3 points where it would have had a difference. So people look at it and go, oh, you're typical Tottenham, you finished second. Well, Chelsea weren't in Europe that season. They were gifted a game at Manchester City when quite clearly David Luiz should have been sent off. And from the resulting change in the game, they scored Chelsea and went on to win 3-1 when they should have been 2-0 down or 1-0 down and a player down. That sort of thing helped Chelsea win the league. If you look at the statistics, and I'm not even looking at them, I'm looking straight at the camera, Spurs scored more goals that season than Chelsea. They conceded fewer, and they were far on the eye the better side. Not even questionable. Didn't win the league, got 86 points. Moving away from Tottenham for a minute and just park it for a moment. This Arsenal side has got 75 points, I believe. They're going to get beaten at Man City, I imagine, tomorrow. Manchester City will go on to win the league, which is what I didn't think in January because of the amount of fixtures they've got left. But I expect Arsenal to not win at Newcastle either.
Yeah,
and they may finish runners-up, Arsenal, with 86 points or fewer. And they've been in the lead the whole time.
I know.
They've never been anywhere else other than in the lead. Once the game sort of sorted themselves out, they've been in the lead 10, 11 points sometimes.
And they haven't got the excuse of having European fixtures to fulfil.
No, and not a lot of their players weren't at the World Cup for more than 12 minutes because they weren't there.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So, you know, they've had a real struggle lately. I accept they're a young side. The manager's not been in the game a long time as a manager. But they've capitulated recently. And when you look at that and think where they were massive odds on to win the league. When we had that chance, we were never in that position. Chelsea were always odds on. We never had the chance to win the league. We were never even anywhere near. We never got nearer than 7 points. We never played in time to get in front. So, you know. So I look at the issues. Pochettino complained, quite rightly, we need to buy some players. We didn't buy any in 2018. We ended up in the Champions League final. God knows how we got there. I had a heart attack as well on the way. It was astonishing we got there, but we lost 20 matches that season. And that tells you there's a problem with the club. If you're losing that many games, it's a problem. We got lucky last year. We did get lucky last year. The football club, brilliant, fantastic stadium, great facilities, wonderful training facilities, best restaurants, brilliant, fantastic for music. Now we're going to have some sort of go-kart track or something going around it. Brilliant. So what? NFL's fantastic. But the fans want some success. I look at all the arguments realistically. When the season starts, opportunity in the League Cup, really, that's your best chance of winning a bit of silverware. FA Cup, not so easy. To win the league, almost impossible, because you're not competing on the same playing field as Man City and Man United and Liverpool, and Chelsea, who've spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions. You can't compete buying 35 and 40 million pound players when the other team's buying £100 million striker. All right, they got Haaland for 51 million, Man City, but that was a fixed deal. Now put Haaland on the market. What do you reckon he's worth?
Oh, 100,000, 100 million, easy.
Haaland? 100 million? I'm telling you now, if they wanted to sell him, I reckon if anybody could afford him, they'd get 250 million for him.
You reckon that much?
Easy.
Wow.
Easy. He's 22 years of age.
Yeah.
He's 22. He's got 10 years left. He's scored 50 goals this season. All right, he's in a very good side. And to be fair, I imagine that there's a lot of forwards that would have scored that many for Man City. But he hardly plays, Haaland, you know. They take him off as soon as he's got after an hour. He got 2 goals, we take him off. He's got 2, we take him off. He has to score a hat-trick in the first half, otherwise he gets taken off. I mean, that's how it is for Haaland, you know. And he's in a very good side that presses and wins the ball. And yet Man City, this season, almost lost to Spurs at home and lost away at Tottenham, yeah? And this is a Spurs side that I think is possibly one of the worst sides I've seen at Spurs in years. They've got no heart, Tottenham. Anyone that thinks otherwise, they must be watching a different game to me. I watched it yesterday. Before it started, I really expected Newcastle to win. Not because I think Newcastle are a particularly good team. I don't. Well, they're actually playing as a team. There's a difference. But they haven't got any big stars that cost 45, 50 million. They've got a lot of 15 million pound players, but the manager's made a good job of what he's doing. And they've all bought into it. At Tottenham, Son's had a poor season. Dyer, he's average at best, in my opinion. He's not a top player. They've missed Davis because he's a steadying influence, but he's 30 today. He's not that quick. Bentancur, they miss terribly. You know, players that are injured. Basuma this season's hardly kicked a ball for Spurs. The same with Sessegnon. Whether or not these are good, you need to change your players. You need to mix them up to give some of them a rest. And you're asking Perisic, who's 35, to play every game full 90 minutes at the moment. He can't make it. People are moaning at Porro because they think he's not good enough. Well, if I was playing in that back four, I'd look like a right twat because they don't know what they're doing. But seriously, they just don't know. There's no organisation.
They look.
The goalkeeper
awful.
should never be the captain. Yeah, the goalkeeper shouldn't be the captain. Yesterday, whether you like it or not, you look at it from an outsider looking in. If you were watching that game beforehand and you thought this would be a good game to watch, it was a load of rubbish after 10 minutes because they were 3-0 up and Spurs looked like they just couldn't be bothered. And with the exception of Kane, who genuinely tried the whole game, it's very hard for me to name somebody that actually did well. Sanchez came on 5-0 down, actually didn't do too badly. But look what happened to him the week before. And they blamed him for everything. The poor kid's, you know, probably doesn't want to be at Tottenham. He comes on, makes a mistake straight away because he's cold and the game's 25, 28 minutes gone and it's too fast for him because he's just started the game. Got caught out and everyone's on his back straight away and he's got to feel it because he must know it. Big problems at Spurs. So getting rid of Stellini this afternoon was a good thing.
So who do you think they're going to bring in for next season?
Well, we've had this discussion.
We have.
I said to you before that Pochettino's loved at Tottenham by the fans, the players. I can't see Poch come back. I know I told you that Ozzy said to me when I was at his house, yes, he think Poch will come back. I don't think the Spurs hire are, well, this might change it today actually. I think there's I heard a rumour, whether or not it's true, I don't know yet. But because Chelsea have been touting Pochettino, Chelsea are trying to, or possibly trying to get Pochettino in on the proviso that he goes in and he says to Harry Kane, look, mate, why don't you come here? Now, Spurs will not do business with Chelsea. There's no ifs and buts.
So
but he's only got a year left, Kane.
They wanted him.
Yeah, but you see, Kane's only got a year left on his contract. And I don't think Kane would want to go to Chelsea. And I don't think Kane wants to really leave Spurs because he wants to probably get all his Premier League goals at Tottenham. And I think he really still wants to win something. I think a lot of what happens in the next 6 weeks is going to be huge. If Pochettino was reinstalled at Tottenham, would that keep Kane at Spurs? Probably. Beyond next year. Nagelsmann didn't want to go to Chelsea, and I heard on good authority there were 3 reasons behind it. One, they felt he was too young. Chelsea felt he was too young. The people at Chelsea thought Nagelsmann's too young at 35. I know for a fact that he felt that Chelsea was in such a mess that he didn't feel that he could sort out that mess because they've got too many players. And what a lot of Chelsea fans keep forgetting is that FFP changes at the start of next season. It goes from 90% to 70%. And that's huge. So that means that you can only use 70% of your income for wages and football as opposed to 90. And Chelsea spent 602 million so far. So that's going to have a huge dent. They've got no income coming in next season, Chelsea, from anywhere other than their match day allowances. It's quite a pokey little ground, Chelsea. They've only got a capacity of about 44,000. You can't really say that financially that's going to bring in a massive sum of money each week. I mean, no matter what they charge, it's not a big ground. So they've been successful because they bought success. And whichever way you look at it, that's a fact, They did have some fantastic players, don't get me wrong, but they bought. That's always been their way. They've also made the biggest sale or worst sale in history along with Pogba, with Man United in Lukaku. That's a world record, that is, for the biggest waste of money.
They did that with Torres as well. Do you remember years ago?
Yeah, well, Chelsea do it regularly, and that was it with Abramovich. He said, well, I don't care, it's just money. So... And it's another reason why Levy hates Chelsea. I mean, there is genuinely a hate. There's a not a hate. There's a dislike between Chelsea and Spurs and vice versa. Levy feels quite rightly that if Chelsea go for a player, the team that sells it goes, well, we'll add another 15 million on because Chelsea's stupid enough to pay for it. And that's exactly what Levy has said publicly, not even that long ago. And it's true. They've overspent, and because other clubs go in for a player, and the team that wants to sell is waiting for Chelsea to come in so they can bump the price up. The moment Chelsea say we're not interested, the price goes back down again. And that's it has an impact financially. That's the thing. If you're Tottenham and you go, right, we're not spending more than 50 million on a player, and it's linked with Chelsea, that player, it's now 65 or 70 million. Spurs say, well, we won't look for that one because we don't want to spend 70 million on the player. However, they could have sold Dele Alli for 110 million 4 years ago, didn't. And what they ended up selling him for? 20 million? And what's he worth today? 5?
Nobody even knows what he's doing nowadays.
Well, he's been in Turkey, but they don't want him. So he'll be back at Everton at the start of next season.
Oh, did they
Probably
find
in-
him then? Because he went a bit AWOL, didn't he?
He was injured.
Oh, is that what it was?
But so Spurs have got huge problems. Biggest issue is who comes in. Nagelsmann's now said he does want the job. I think Luis Enrique is quite keen on the job. There's a guy called Arne Slot who's the manager of Feyenoord. But whilst his football might be really good to watch, he's 44, but he's not proven in the Prem. And Luis Enrique, who managed Barcelona and Spain, he's proven at top level, but the problem is when you're managing a team that had Messi in it, and Messi was, 30? Or, you've got a player that wins you the game by himself. We've got Kane. If he's having a bad day, who's going to score? It's a problem.
No one
So
at the
I
moment.
don't think Luis Enrique, I'm not sure that his would be the first choice that Tottenham would have. Nagelsmann is 36, I think, in the summer. I think so. Would that keep Kane at Spurs with his previous record? I think if you say to Nagelsmann, we give you the money, we've got to have you building a club for 3 years, I think maybe Kane would say, okay, I'm happy with that. But it's who you bring in.
Yeah.
He's got to think to himself, it must be part of Kane's head. He's not stupid. He's got to think, right, if I stay at Tottenham next season, because they won't let me go, and I score 20 odd goals in the Premier League, and I'm on 230, which is about where he'd be, I'm only 30 goals away from cashing Shearer. If I go to a top side for 3 years, I'm going to end up with 300 goals, no doubt, as long as he's healthy. Whereas if he stays at Spurs and they get the right manager in, he could do that at Tottenham. And then he gets everything that goes with it, the statue, the stand, everything else, so Harry Kane, because he's going to get knighted. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's going to be, he's England's, well, unless they can find the stats of this other bloke, he's going to be England's top goal scorer with probably 70, 75 goals if he plays another 3 or 4 years. So Jeff Hurst got a knighthood for scoring 3 goals in the cup final, so... No, but when you look at it like that, he did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Jeff Hurst wasn't a particularly good footballer. Please don't tell me you thought he was. He was a forward in a good West Ham side. He wasn't particularly great. He wasn't fit to lace Jimmy Greaves' boots. But he got in the team because Greaves got injured. Greaves doesn't get injured. Hurst never scores a hat-trick. England might never have won the World Cup.
Yeah.
If you look at it like that, so what happened to him was luck. It went his way that day, and he's lived off it ever since. Don't get me wrong, I'm not criticising him. I'm just saying that he's lived off it ever since. But you've got Kane.
We've gone into the second hour, so we're going to have to wrap up the Tottenham.
Yeah, good. Got to do what year is it?
Just sticking on the football, we'll say a massive congratulations to Wrexham, who have made it into the National Football League. A fantastic season they've had this year. I mean, 1 and 2 in that league on 100 points.
Unbelievable.
Like crazy, absolutely crazy. Notts County in the playoffs, who knows? Fingers crossed. They do deserve going up.
I hope they come up, even though Boreham Wood are in it. I hope they do because they deserve it.
They do deserve
More
it.
importantly, Leyton Orient are champions.
Leyton Orient are champions.
Yeah, won League Two. Yeah,
So,
that's where I used to be.
Big congratulations to Ryan Reynolds and his. Who's the other guy?
The other guy.
The other American. I can't remember who he is.
There's an awful lot of Yanks got into football lately.
I know.
And most of them cock it up.
Well, they have a different understanding because they've come from a country that doesn't play it that much. So their understanding of football is a little bit different.
how it's run as well.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they weren't happy with the owners at Liverpool. The Glazers, I mean, they've been in charge of Man United for 20 years. They started the company, they bought the company with 738 million in debt, and 20 years later, they're 740 million in debt.
Oops.
Unbelievable. The ground's falling to bits. Carrington's
Yeah.
load of old rubbish. I mean, they need to spend. If you buy Man United, I reckon you need to spend probably $1 billion for their training ground
Yeah.
and facilities, and probably $1 billion upgrading Manchester United's Old Trafford and the training ground and their facilities. That's $1 billion.
It's a
You've
lot
got,
of money.
we call it 1.2. You've got 800 million to pay off. So you're -2 to start with, and probably 4 billion for the club. So about 6 billion, maybe 5.5 billion to buy that club. You need a lot of money. Where are you going? You've gone on mute.
I did. I said, my Josh is in the kitchen and he's never quiet. So I've shut the door over a bit.
Oh, bless him.
He just said sorry.
That's all right. So,
No,
what year is it? By the way, the World Snooker's on. I just wanted to let you know this because you know I love my snooker, yeah?
You do.
So,
You were going to do your what year is it?
yeah, I've got to do that one in a moment. So in the
Okay.
snooker, so we got to the quarterfinals now, okay? And I'm just updating you this. So on the snooker, we're going to be left with Ronnie, Mark Selby, Mark Allen, Anthony McGill, Luca Brissell, John Higgins, CGI, and Jack Jones. They're going to be the quarterfinalists. Of that list, Jack Jones is a qualifier, which is amazing. And so CGI, who's the Chinese kid who's done really, really, really well. And I'm saying it now because I think I'm going to be right. Ronnie's not going to win it. I said it last year he would win it, and the 3 previous years I said he wouldn't. I don't think he wins it this year.
No? Who do you think's going to...
My
you think
gut,
he'll get to the
look,
final?
my gut instinct. Huh?
Do you think you'll get to the
Look-
final?
No, I don't. I think he get bombed out in the semi-final.
Ooh, that's
I
a
mean,
big
Luca
one.
Brissell, if he plays to the top of his game the way he was playing, might surprise Ronnie. The problem is with Ronnie, he's the most gifted player has ever been, no question. He's like all genii. He has a moment where his brain turns the other way around. I know how he feels. You just have a problem. You for some reason it's like you got to be losing in order to try and win. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's too
yeah.
easy. If he keeps winning, it's too easy.
Yeah.
And if he's losing sort of 7-2 or 6-2 or something, then he thinks, I better try now. And he needs that
Fair
kind
play,
of,
yeah.
he needs that kind of, I've got to be struggling to sort of make an effort. So yeah, I'd go, I don't know. I thought before it started Mark Allen would win it. So we'll have to wait and see. I was very impressed with Higgins yesterday. That's the best I've seen him play in about 8 years. I really thought he was solid yesterday. So we'll see. On another front, Luton are playing against Middlesbrough at the moment. That's a crunch game in the Championship.
Any score update on that one?
It's 0-0 still. They've only been playing 10 minutes. But and the Atalanta Roma is also 0-0 after half an hour.
Yeah.
But so other than the snooker, and we've obviously had the golf because the Masters was on, which you might have seen that was on recently, the Masters, and Tiger Woods had to withdraw. Sadly, I think, if I'm honest, I think he's had another ankle operation. I think he's never going to be the same again, which is a shame because he was unbelievable golfer, unbelievable.
So he's
So
out.
we have the, pardon?
He's out.
He's out. He's injured.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah, we had the Grand National, which was probably as easy a win as I've seen in the Grand National ever. Just amazing bit of horsemanship. And what have we got coming up? Well, the cricket season started.
Yep.
my lot won a game yesterday
Who's
with
your
one
lot?
over to go. Middlesex.
Okay.
Absolutely cack. They were the first two games. Yeah. I mean, they made Spurs look good. Yeah. But they won a game yesterday against Northamptonshire. Against Nottinghamshire, sorry, which was brilliant game. Went down to the last minute, so was a fantastic win. Needed that because their odds on to go down. They haven't got a particularly good team. We've got the what else is coming on the horizon? Oh yeah, tomorrow's Man City Arsenal.
Yeah.
Big game.
Massive game.
See, with Arsenal dropping points the last couple of games, it's caused them to have to win at Man City tomorrow. Now, many moons ago, Arsenal last game of the season had to go to Anfield. I remember this.
I remember that one. Yes, I remember that.
9, I think.
Yeah.
And they won 2-0 in the last minute.
Yeah.
And they played really, really well that day. But Liverpool went in that game thinking, well, as long as we don't lose, we're okay. But even if we lose 1-0, we're okay. And it's kind of like an acceptance that you don't have to be at your best. Whereas Arsenal went, we have to win. And when you have to do something, you're much more tuned in and zoned in and you sort of on your mettle. And tomorrow, Arsenal have to win.
Yeah, I can't
If Man
see it.
City
Their form has just been
No,
so
I
poor.
can't see it. I think Man City will blow Arsenal away. I'm totally honest with you.
Yeah.
But if Arsenal get trounced tomorrow, if they do, and Man City are 2 points behind with 2 games in hand, and you look at Arsenal's running, and you think, well, don't fancy them getting much at Newcastle. I think Man City could have won the league with 2 games to go. And Man City, I think, they've got to play Real Madrid in the Champions League. Obviously, that's going to be a cracking match. Whereas the AC Inter game is, Italian derby.
I know.
I mean, Napoli, I don't know what happened to Napoli. That I thought Napoli was a shoo-in to beat either of those.
To be fair, even in the league, the last 4 weeks, Napoli haven't been playing well at all in the league. I know.
Sorry, my wife just came in and moaned about the cake that I've eaten. I only had a small piece of cake. I don't know.
Where's mine? I didn't get cake.
My daughter made it. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, the last four weeks, Napoli have been really poor. Osimhen obviously has been injured.
But they won the last minute.
Eh?
Yeah, they won in the last minute yesterday.
I know. But look, they were poor. It wasn't a good game from them. It wasn't their normal game. Osimhen, that was his first game.
They're crawling over the line now. Let's have a look at the table now. So let's have a look.
They've still won it.
Yeah, I don't think they need many points to win it now, do they?
No.
They've got 78, 7 games left, and Lazio can only get 82.
So Juventus have been given their points back.
They got their points back, yeah, but Paratici still lost his job.
Yeah, but they're temporarily. So they could still end up with their points taken away or less points taken away or nothing. So a final decision hasn't been made.
No, if Roma beat Atalanta this evening, it's 0-0 at the moment, but if Roma win, then Milan are 3 points behind Juve with significantly worse goal difference. And really, Milan might finish 5th in Italy. And obviously, 5th, that's not in the Champions League, and they could be in the final.
Yeah.
They'd have to win it. I can't see an Italian side win the Champions League. I'm sorry. I think Madrid aren't brilliant, but I think Manchester City, if they play properly, they'll put Madrid to bed in no time.
Yeah. But it's going to be an interesting semi-final, and Napoli. Well, they've only got themselves to blame for that.
Yeah, but part of the problem is they're not winning the league regularly, so of course, their mind is elsewhere, and that's why when you look at Man City, you think, well,
They're
You
more
know,
consistent.
there seem to be. If you look at the last 7 years, Man City have been up in the first two in the Premier League pretty well every year. So, you know,
And
not.
Kevin, he's been on
Say that
fire.
again.
You know, I can't say his name. Kevin, he's been on fire all season, and then literally like the last four weeks or so, he's been pretty average. Pretty average.
Well, that's football for you, you know.
Oh.
Here's a question for you: how many Premier League goals do you think Harry Kane has got this season?
This season, oh God,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
How many do you think?
I don't know. 18?
Premier League, yeah.
Yeah.
Haaland has got 32. Kane's got 24.
Oh, okay. He's
So-
done all right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pop something up here. So Kane's goals this season, if they took them out of Spurs, I think we'd be bottom 4.
Yeah.
So last season's top goal scorer had how many goals?
I haven't got a clue.
23.
Is that all? 23.
Yeah, Mo Salah and Son. And Son scored all of his goals. They weren't penalties. Mo Salah had quite a lot of penalties, yeah? So Kane's got 24 in a worse team this year.
Yeah.
6 games less. He might end up with 26, 27 goals. When you think of it like that, it's quite astonishing,
Mm.
you know, how well he's done.
Yeah, yeah.
And you look at his total goals for a professional footballer, or you look, he scored more goals this season on his own. Well, so's Haaland, to be fair, yeah? If you look at the Premier League table, Haaland has got 32 goals, yeah? On his own, yeah?
Yeah.
How many teams do you think he's scored more goals than they've scored between the whole team?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so Haaland has scored 32 goals
Yes.
on his own.
Yes.
How many teams in the Premier League do you think Haaland has outscored?
I'd probably say most of them, no?
Oh. 7 teams have scored fewer than 32 goals
Oh.
this season. In fact, Everton has scored. Harry Kane has scored as many goals this season on his own as Everton have by themselves, the whole team. That's frightening.
So Tottenham would need to keep Kane, otherwise.
Well, yeah. But if he was playing alongside another striker, can you imagine? We'd be half decent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, frightening. Absolutely frightening what the state of it is. But anyway, it is what it is. So anyway, let's do what is the year.
Go on then.
Right. The number 1 song from this particular year.
Please don't do a prenatal question
No.
or a
it is,
prenatal year.
well, yeah, but that's fine. I can't help that. It's how it is. Is Volare.
Volare. That's prenatal.
Right. So you know the song. Right. That was the number 1 song in this year.
It's prenatal.
Well, not for everybody.
Okay, Volare. Oh, what was that? 60s? 40s? 50s? 60s? I don't know.
So all you got to do is guess the year.
Okay. Okay. Right.
So you don't know yet.
No. I know the song.
You gonna have a guess at the year?
I'll go with 62.
Okay.
Am I close or am I like well out?
No, you're not a million miles away.
Oh, okay. Okay. Am I in the right
Not a million
decade?
miles away. Okay. So here's my question, because you said you had a question for me. What was your question?
Yes. I wanted to talk about. Oh God, how do I say it? transgender athletes. Obviously, there's been a lot of controversy, hasn't there, with transgender athletes
You obviously don't follow me on Facebook properly.
competing in sports. And are there any sports that you feel would be acceptable for transgender athletes to compete in?
No.
None at all. Not even like darts or something like that.
That's standing there. Okay.
I hope we've got no darts people listening.
Right. For fear of anybody getting the arse and saying that I'm being some form of sexist or whatever, I've got to be fair. I'm not somebody that does woke at all well, because I can't stand the way we live in a society with everybody got no backbone. If you choose to have a change in your sexuality, which is your choice, I've got no problem with that. I respect the fact you want to be what you want to be. But having listened to a very well-known American professor the other day, who was being quizzed from an audience with a transgender man who happened to be about 6'1", who wanted to be a woman. I'll use this word politely, he, she, or it, decided to question the professor as to why the professor felt that this person who believed that was a he was now a woman and felt like a woman and wanted to act like a woman, and was accepted by he, she, it, hers friends as a woman, dressed as a woman, grew her hair like a woman. But when you're 6 foot tall, you don't look like a woman, especially as you've got hands. Yeah, hands and feet give it away. And she got a round of applause in the audience for saying what she had to say. So the professor turned round and said very politely, in quite a matter-of-fact way, "You may think you are a woman, and you may dress like a woman, and your friends may accept you as a woman, and the people in the audience there may accept you as a woman, some of them out of kindness, some of them out of thoughtfulness and what have you. But the fact of the matter is you're a man. Your chromosomes are male, you were born a male, your sexuality and all your DNA is male, and no matter what you say, even though you may want to become female, you are a male, period." And if you'd have heard him speak, he still had quite a husky man's voice, yeah? So when you ask me whether a transgender athlete or a transgender person can do sport, I think any team sport or any sport where you are part of a group, so athletes, football. Can you imagine if I put a wig on and was playing football in a women's football team? Who's going to beat me in the air? They couldn't beat me in the air playing in a men's football team. So how are they going to do it in a women's football team?
Can you
imagine when I shoot, the power that I shoot at compared to how powerful a woman shoots at. Yeah? And if I kick somebody, how much harder it's going to be if I kick them. So when I say it like that, it's not fair.
Yeah.
Me at 25 playing in a women's football team, even a professional women's football team, I would stand out. My height, my size, obviously, but physically, there's no comparison. So
I agree. I think when sports requires physicality, I think you have to remain the way it is, because
absolutely.
You've got to keep a level playing field. You've got to keep it fair, and it becomes unfair.
If the best, so usually in the world, the best 100-meter runners are predominantly black. Why?
Because of their muscle build.
Right. So for most black athletes, their muscle tone and development is very much around the midriff. They're very powerful thighed, men and the women. And you watch them run and they're incredibly powerful off the blocks. And you look at the male athletes and you go back to Alan Wells, and I'm really struggling after that, but pretty well everyone else who's won it has been black 100 meters, yeah? It's not because the black person's different in any work. It's just physically, that's an advantage. Right. If the best female or best male athlete who's 5'9", 5'8", male, or he's a very good male athlete, and instead of him being able to run 9.7, 9.8, 9.9, he always runs 10.1 in all the qualifiers. So he gets beaten, but he always does well. He thinks, if I was a woman, I could win the Olympics, because if I have a sex change in 3 years' time, I'm going to still be able to run about 10.1, and none of the women can run 10.1, so I'll win it. Do you think that's fair?
1 minute, Steve. We've got a question from Gareth.
Yep.
He says, why do we have a men's and women's tournament in darts and snooker when physicality doesn't come into it?
Well,
I agree with that.
To a certain extent, he's right.
Yeah.
I think
and you've only got to look in the darts what was it?
Yeah, Fallon Sherrock.
Fallon Sherrock competed against the men, and she did phenomenally. So
yeah,
there are sports.
But which round did she get bombed out in?
Eh?
Which round did she get bombed out in? Second round.
Second round.
Right. Rhiannon Evans plays snooker. Which round does she get bombed out in the World Championships?
First round.
Right. You don't see women get to the crucible.
But is that because they don't compete against men regularly? Why in darts and snooker?
Well, you want a level playing field. You want a level playing field, right? When a woman plays snooker, does she have the same physicality as a man?
But it's more about technique, isn't it? In darts and sports, opposed to physicality.
But snooker's a big table. Now let's look at a woman. An average woman's 5'6". Yeah, it's not so easy on a snooker table at 5'6" compared to someone who's 6 foot. It's an advantage to be tall in snooker.
When women play snooker, they don't play on a smaller table, do they?
No. No, they don't. Which is why it's harder for them competing against the men, because the men. So when they've got a difficult shot with the rest, a woman's got to use the rest more often. When she's got to lean over and stretch over 3 or 4 balls, she doesn't have the same physicality and height. So she's got to play a much harder shot to carry on the break. Therein makes the problem. So if you look at the best players,
if the table's the same size.
No, but you're missing the point. If I'm 6'4", I can lean over the table a lot more easily than someone who's 5'4". Right. So there's where the problem lies. They might be very good at potting the balls when everything's rosy, but when it's a difficult shot and they've got to put the one end and you've got to go over queuing over five balls with a blooming swan or something, a swan rest to play the shot, that's a lot harder than it looks. Or an extended spider, they can't reach the shot clearly. They don't see the angle so well, so they're more likely to miss. And if they miss and the other bloke goes and clears up, they're more likely to lose the frame. So therefore, they're at a disadvantage.
So you don't think there's any sport where you could have a
marbles? Look, if you're a man, you enter the male sports. If you're a woman, you enter the female sports.
Yeah.
If there's a sport that you can do where you're both equal, men and women could play table tennis against each other, couldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because they play tennis against each other.
Yeah. In the mixed doubles they do, yeah.
Right. When a man plays in mixed doubles and he's serving at the woman, he doesn't think to himself, oh, I'll do it a bit softer because she's an old wuss. He wallops at her because he wants to win the point. So,
yeah.
And she knows it's coming. It's not like she doesn't know it's coming. Right.
So Gareth,
this is the subject that I get.
Gareth has said, But snooker isn't dominated by giant players.
Really? So Steve Davis is 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
Stephen Hendry's about 5'11". He's about 5'10", 5'11". How many women snookers players, apart from one or two, are over 5'6", 5'7"? Height's an advantage in snooker. It is an advantage. No question, it's an advantage. It's only a minimal amount. But that minimal amount when you're hitting the cue ball can be the difference between having to use a rest and not having to use the rest. And that is the key issue. And if you and also, and I have to say it in the nicest possible way, the men's standard in snooker is so much higher than the women's standard that the top 2 or 3 women, I grant you, can beat quite a lot of the men. Absolutely no question. But not regularly.
So what about in darts?
Well, again, I think the men, they're used to playing under the lights. They're used to all these TV events. They're playing in all this big money stuff. And a woman comes along, and I just feel that they're not playing on the same playing field. They don't have the same sort of money in the tournaments they play in. The pressure, the TV, the lights, it has an effect. You know it does. You know it does. So,
But that's what
you know, I'm not saying they can't play in it because Fallon Sherritt gets in the world darts anyway.
Yeah, but if they have the opportunity to compete under those circumstances, under the lights.
I've got no problem with them competing in darts, but you're asking about a transgender. And a transgender man who wants to be a woman, you know, for some people that's quite off-putting. It's a bit uncomfortable. You know,
I suppose
I don't mean it in a rude way. I'm just being honest.
No, yeah, that bit that is probably a different side of it.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
it is. I'm just giving you an update on the score, by the way.
Which one's this, Luton?
Still 0-0 Luton. Atalanta though just scored against Roma.
Oh, interesting.
And very important game in the Dutch Eerste Divisie, because I know Gareth likes his Dutch football. So Jong PSV Eindhoven 0, MVV Maastricht 1, 11 minutes to go. He needs to know this because Gareth is one of the few people on the planet that worked in the sports industry dealing with football and couldn't pronounce half the football teams that he was having to do. It was one of the funniest things I ever had in my life. Yeah, some of the football teams he came out with was classic. Yeah. Always made me laugh. He's a good lad, Gareth. I got a lot of time for him.
Because there's been a lot of controversy in America with, especially during college events, where you've got these transgender athletes competing. I think swimming, there was a big uproar when this male to female competed in the female heats. And I mean, won by lengths, absolute lengths.
But it's not fair, is it?
It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not right.
So, listen, if you're a geezer and you want someone to chop your nuts off and you want to be a woman, that's your choice. But if you want to compete as a woman when your body is a man, irrespective that you've changed it to a woman, you're born as a man, it's not fair. No, I don't think you should be allowed.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm going to give you another song from that year. It's a very well-known song.
Gareth says you can't discriminate against my speech impediment.
I can. All I have to do is dream by the Everly Brothers.
Oh, was that number one in that year as well?
No, that was number 2 that year.
Oh, number 2. So, voila.
Gareth hasn't got a speech impediment. He just can't read.
So he's dyslexic.
No, he thinks that Schalke should be called Schalek. There's a whole load of him, and he knows it, yeah, because he's different class. He's a lovely, lovely guy. I'm pleased to call him a friend. He's in my football competition. He's got a share of the dog that we bought, beautiful greyhound that we bought. He's called Blue, but his racing name is Droopy's Vigor, and he's trialling, I think, next week in Sheffield or the week after. Got about 3 trials, maybe 4 trials to do in May. And he'll get registered to us because you have to register at a greyhound track.
Yeah.
And the transfer will go into our names next month, which is what was always planned. And then when he starts racing, properly racing, he'll be racing, I imagine, in June. And if we get a chance, we're going to pop up to Kinsley or Doncaster to go and watch him race, and
Excellent.
with a hope that by this time next year we've got him in the St Ledger at Doncaster, because
Wow,
that's
that's
we're going to
massive.
get in some good money in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you got any idea what year we're in?
Everly Blood
62 is what your first guess was.
Yeah. I'll go with 65.
No.
Am I going the right?
Incidentally, Spurs under 21s 3, Chelsea under 21s 1 at the moment.
Okay. Am I going in the right direction with the year?
No,
Oh, sugar. All right.
that was a good song.
That was. Oh, sugar.
I know. Sugar. Da, 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 da. Remember that one?
I know that one.
That was 65, I think. I'll give you one more clue for the song, for the
Go on
year.
then. Yep.
So the song's called Yakety Yak, which you must have heard of.
No. Yakety Yak.
Yeah,
No.
Yakety Yak. Don't talk back. You'll find that Arnold Schwarzenegger sings it in one of the films he's in as well.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't know. Don't know that song. All right. I'll go.
No?
I'll go 58.
Yes!
No way! Really?
1958.
Are
Yeah.
you serious?
No,
Okay,
no,
well-
no. I was just about to tell you.
Yay!
Yeah. Elvis was number 3 that year with Don't. It was a double A side with the Don't and I Beg of You. So
Oh wow! I can't believe
yeah.
I got that one.
I was going to stick in Sweet Little 16 by Chuck Berry.
Oh, I know that one.
Ah, well, that's 1958. And if you hadn't got it after that, I was going to say it was the unfortunate year of the Munich air disaster,
Oh,
which
okay.
was very easy clue.
Yes, yeah.
So
Well done on
So
your
I'm gonna have
question,
to-
Steve. You did
Huh?
really good. Well done
I
on
have
your
to
question.
get a tricky one. I have
It
to give you a
was.
tricky one.
Yeah, yeah. And if people didn't cheat, then maybe, maybe
Yeah,
I
well,
would have had a go.
the thing is, if we do anything this century, I have to look it up, because when I hear my wife likes Radio 1, and I think it's an absolute pile of poop. Every song is the same background, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
all the time, and I think, when they play any proper music on this channel, it's absolute drivel. And then she says, "Oh, here's a song you know," and if I never don't know this, I either say it's Bouncy or what's his face, the ginger geezer.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, him or Beyonce. That's it. They're the only two I know.
Okay.
Because I never know who it is. And then when she says, and all of a sudden somebody will be on the background of a song. And the thing is that the kids listen to Radio 1, forget that all the songs they're listening to, 90% of them were songs that were out in the 60s and the 70s and
Absolutely.
80s when they were
Yep.
sung properly.
That's right.
And,
I
you know,
agree.
and it's
Oh no.
no,
No.
honestly.
So,
So,
shall we go on to what's coming up for this week for the Sports Deck?
what is coming up?
Oh my God, lots and lots of commentary. Lots and lots of commentary. So tomorrow night, we've got the UCL Reserves Knockout Cup Final between Newport Pagnell Town Reserves and Harborough Town Reserves. That's a 7:45 kickoff at Bugbrook St Michael's. And I'll be doing
Bugbrook St Michael.
Bugbrook, yeah. Up in Northampton.
Yeah, I've been there.
So
Oh,
that's
I have.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
it's been played, and I'll be doing commentary for that one. And then
Right, go on.
Give me a minute. I've got to read. Hold
You
on.
froze. You froze.
And then on Saturday we have 2 games being played at Buckingham Athletic. So we've got the Division 1 Challenge Trophy final between Deans Hanger Athletic Reserves and FC Impact. And that's a 12 o'clock kickoff. And on the same day, same afternoon, same venue, we've got the Premier Division Challenge Trophy final between Great Linford FC and Hale Lees. And that's a 4 o'clock kickoff. So commentary will be provided by myself for all of those games. And the link can always be found on Twitter at the Sports Deck One.
Oh, that's good. Shame
Yeah.
you couldn't come to my final.
I know, right? What's up with Bedford League?
What, my final?
Yes. They wouldn't let me come.
Well, no, it wasn't. No, well, you weren't here actually in the UK, to be fair. But having said that, they didn't mind you going to the game. They just don't do a commentary thing because I don't know whether it's happened, but I think one of the Bedford, it must have been a few years ago, there was a big issue over a commentary. Somebody said that they had the rights and they weren't allowed to use it at the ground or something. I don't know what it was. They just thought best to say no and be safe. But as it happens, you couldn't make it. But that was one hell of an event, if I'm honest with you. I managed to get my studs caught in the ground just on the stroke of half time.
Yeah.
And it's 3 weeks ago. Oops, Chelsea just scored another goal. Middlesbrough just scored as well. And when you're on the adrenaline is so high in a game like that. And I really regret doing the second half for the fact that I had to run around a lot on one leg, which isn't easy. And I've been hobbling for 3 weeks, and I've got something in my boot called Sorbitane, which is what the astronauts use when they're in space to protect their feet from hard ground, which actually has been helpful. And I'm just about at the stage where I can go back jogging at the weekend slowly, and I'm hopeful of refereeing again, which has really surprised me. 8th of May when we've got our next show.
Okay.
So I'm hopeful an afternoon game. That's what they've phoned me up and asked me if I could do.
Yeah.
So I'd be home by 5 anyway, so it's not a problem. It'll only be a local game.
Okay.
So hopefully I can do it. Cracking final. Great to be there. Nice to have a lot of people there. Some Football League referees were at the game as well, which was obviously fantastic for me. And they were surprised how well I did, which was really nice. So I got some really good feedback. Good,
considering you got injured. That's good.
Yeah, apparently I got a really high mark, but I mean, obviously the issue is, you get older and you're susceptible to an injury. One thing it has told me is I think my next car that I buy, I'm actually going to change to an automatic. I found a 2-litre Granland that does the same miles per gallon as my diesel Granland, and I've only got to use my right foot. So
I know. I
know. It's always my left ankle. It's always my left ankle that goes. It's not the first time. So I think that might be my next step when I'm about 63. Well, it's true.
The first week in May, following week, lots of commentary coming up again. On Wednesday the 3rd is the Intermediate Division Challenge Trophy final between Deans Hanger Athletic First and Hanslope FC Reserves. And that's a 7:45 kickoff.
Where's that?
Again, all these games are being played at Buckingham Athletic.
Okay.
And then the Saturday the 13th, 2 games again, so another double header. It is the Reserves Team Challenge Trophy final between Hanslope FC Reserves and Great Horwood Reserves. So Hanslope FC Reserves are in 2 finals. Right way around, see? And then the afternoon game on the Saturday the 13th. The afternoon game on the 13th is the Interdivisional Challenge Trophy final between Hale Lees FC and Stony Stratford Men's FC.
And they've got no transgender players in that team.
Not that I'm aware of. We might
Now
find
you
out.
see, but that might happen. You see, that's the irony
Yeah.
of this. Is it may happen that during the course of a season, somebody says, "Look, you know, I might be a woman when I'm turning up in my dress or whatever, but I'm actually a man."
Yeah. Yeah.
So it creates its own issues.
Yeah.
For me, I think these sports where it's an outdoor sport, I just can't see how it's fair. I just don't.
Yeah.
And you know, swimming in a swimming race when you know that you're physically stronger than everybody else because you're a man, you know,
Oh no! Didn't they have it in
That's not right.
weightlifting? They had a male who became a female competing in the female weightlifting.
yeah, that wasn't that the last Olympics or something.
No, it wasn't in
Or
the
some
Olympics,
sort of-
but it was in some
But
sort of.
they're not allowed to do that in the Olympics.
No, they banned it.
I
in the
know
Olympics.
that because the IOC came out, I think it was last week, and said, right, whatever happens, no transgender athlete,
Yeah.
no transgender person can represent the opposite sex in a tournament ever.
Yeah.
That was in their thing. And, you know, I know we're going to get someone who's going to phone up and go, oh, moaning that you're being woke or anti the alphabet people, whatever they call themselves.
The
You know,
Bitterclaw.
we're not. We're not.
No,
Huh?
I agree. As a sports fan, I want to see a
A
sports
fair
that's
playing
fair.
field.
Yeah.
But I want that for every sport. And you know, this is what I said to you earlier. If you put a game, if Man City plays Arsenal tomorrow night, and Man City score 3 goals after the first 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes, they're 3-0 up. Honestly, how many people are just going to go, well, I knew it, told you so? Yeah?
Yeah.
If that game, by some coincidence, Arsenal scores a goal after half an hour, and at half time it's Man City 0, Arsenal 1. And bearing in mind, Spurs were 2-0 up against Man City at half time. And all of a sudden, you've got, wow, this is going to be an interesting second half. Everyone who's watching who's a neutral is thinking, wonder what happens next. Because there's an interest, because Arsenal are the underdogs in this game.
Yeah.
And if all of a sudden they have a chance, if they were to win the game, because if they were to win the game, I think they would win the league. And the reason I say that is not because Man City would still have 2 games in hand and Arsenal would have to still go to Newcastle, which is a tough game. I think Manchester City's season for them has been defined with they've got to win the Champions League. And if you said to them tomorrow, we're guaranteeing that you win the Champions League, but you don't win the Premier League and you don't win the FA Cup final, I think they'd bite your hand off to have the Champions League because they haven't got any stars on their shirt.
Pep
They want one.
never won it, so that's the one he
I
won.
know, and I think he's got the best team in Europe to win it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like anything in life. You know, I tried to explain this before. You know, you're in a competition, and again, you can look already at next season's Premier League, and you think, right, who's likely to win the Premier League next season? Man City. Who's the biggest? Who's the biggest challenger for next season to Manchester City next season?
Possibly Man United or Arsenal, depending
Right,
on how.
I'd go Man United.
Yeah.
Right, I go Man United as the biggest challenger to Man City next season. That's saying it now, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think Liverpool will be better than they were this year?
Depends how they buy or if they buy.
Well, they're bound to buy 2 midfielders because that's where their problem is, yeah?
So they could be.
Right. So they get a younger team. So, yeah, I think Liverpool will do better. Okay. Do you think Arsenal can improve their team a bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I do too, but they'll be in the table of European competition and there's more expectancy on them next season.
Yeah.
So, not so easy. Okay, do you think Chelsea will be better than they were this season?
Yes.
Okay, I think they will be better than this season, but I think they'll still struggle a bit because they've got so many players They've got
That's
to make a
wrong.
lot of sacrifices. They've got to make a lot of sacrifices. And this is where I go with the financial fair play. And I mentioned it earlier, and I know we're coming to the end of the show, but I mentioned it earlier. Next season, it's 70%, not 90. If you've got to sell players at Chelsea to accommodate your squad, and you're selling a player that you want 45 million for, and another club knows, well, you've got to sell him, mate. We're not paying 45 million for him because we know you have to sell him. It's 35 million. And all of a sudden, Chelsea have got to think, well, we've sold 3 players, but now because we've not got the money we need, we've got to sell another player. Yeah? So before you know it, their squad of 32, which is what they got apparently at the moment, has got to come down to about 22. And then they've got to buy 2 or 3 players to make their squad what they want. But they can't buy anybody until they've sold. And if you're a buying club from Chelsea, why would you rush to buy a Chelsea player at the start of the summer when you know if you wait 6 weeks, you've got him for about 10, 15 million pound less?
Yeah.
Right? Which leaves Chelsea with the problem that they're trying to get all their players in stuck at the end of the transfer window, which is very, very difficult to do.
Yeah.
So Chelsea, I think, might have a lot of issues sorting their mess out for a lot longer than the first 6 or 7 weeks of the season. They could be struggling right up to Christmas to get themselves sorted out.
Yeah.
So they might be better, but I don't think they'll be anywhere near the top 4.
No.
And next season, it should be the top 5 for Champions League. So Newcastle, do you think they'll be a bit better?
Yeah, I do. I do
Right.
think they'll be better.
And so everyone's improved, and I think Spurs might as well, and possibly Aston Villa, yeah? A bit better as well. Maybe, a little bit better.
Maybe.
So-
Maybe.
That's already 9 of the top 10 for next season. Very quickly, who's going down
What, next season?
this season?
Oh, this season, Forest. I hate to say it, but probably Leicester.
You think Leicester are going to go down now?
I think they
They
will.
won at the weekend.
I know. I think they will. I don't know why. I do think they will go down.
So we never picked Leicester in January. We all had Southampton and Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Bournemouth won at Tottenham, and Bournemouth are absolutely rank. Yeah? That tells you what I meant about Spurs players downing tools. They downed it last week against Bournemouth. They did it straight away against Newcastle. They didn't want to play for Stellini. He shouldn't have been at Tottenham. Therein's the problem. Levy caused that problem. Too late to rectify, in my opinion. Southampton are going down. Can't see how they get out of it. At the moment, Forest couldn't win an argument, and I'm sorry to say I think they're going to go back down with them.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
I do think it's going to be Leicester. I think it's going to be a shock.
So there's Everton and Leeds, and you're going for Leicester
I am.
because you think Bournemouth will be all right.
I don't know. They're just one of these sneaky little clubs, aren't they? They just kind of
Who? Bournemouth?
Bournemouth.
I hope they stay up. There's 6 points we'll get next season. We won't mess it up this time. So
Yeah.
I hope Leeds stay up.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind Leeds staying up.
If Everton go down, I won't cry. If Leicester go down, I won't cry.
Yeah. No, I feel-
20:59.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
a minute
we
and a
will
half.
be back on the 8th of May,
Yeah.
which is actually.
We might have a guest. I've got to see if I can get hold of him. Problem is, I forgot there's all these blooming bank holidays.
I know it is a bank holiday and it's coronation weekend.
Weekend or
so,
something. Yeah. I mean,
But we will definitely be here because we are steadfast.
no, you're steadfast. I'm hungry.
And I'll be able to
And
go
I
to
got
all
told
the
off.
games.
I got told off for eating a piece of cake. Yeah.
Well, I should tell you off because I didn't get any cake. But also, thank you everybody for listening in live. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. But don't forget to join the Sports Deck for commentary tomorrow. It will start 7:35, and that is Newport Pagnell Town Reserves versus Harborough Town Reserves. That'll be a game and a half. Steve,
Be
thank
good.
you.
See you.
Been a
See you in a couple of weeks.
All right.
And
it's been a
thanks to
great
everyone that's
show.
listened in, and the questions and the guesses. And pay
Even though
attention
they're
next
cheeky.
fortnight. There'll be another Who Am I and another Guest of the Year. But this time I'm going to make the Guest of the Year really, really tough.
Thank you, everyone, for listening in. Bye.
Bye now. Bye-bye.